Hey folks, welcome back to part 8 of the W6 Restoration. Today we're going to be putting some more pieces together. So you can see I've painted my radiator black. I've done some sanding. There was some imperfections and stuff on the grill and the gas tank, which I ended up bringing it back down to primer. There's a couple spots with some bare metal there, but anyways, we're going to reshoot those. I've started reassembly here. We have the steering is back on and connected, and both fenders are loosely on. I've got brand new bolts on the way to bolt them on the rest of the way. But first, I'm going to focus on trying to get the radiator back in place, and then put the gas tank on and just mock up everything here so I can paint it all as assembled on the tractor. Once I get all of my bolts and everything. So this will take me a few days, but for you it should take about 20 minutes. So I'm just going to clean up the threads on the bolts that hold the radiator in. They've got some gunk in them. Don't really want to thread too nicely, so these are 7/16 by 14 threads per inch. So got the right die here. Make sure we don't cross thread when we start it. We'll just chase the threads that are on the bolt and clean this thing up. As you can see, I've got to take some time off and actually clean up my shop in between some of these videos here. There we go. That looks nice. Just like a brand new bolt. Now, if you're ever at a tractor show in the Midwest anywhere, and you see a blue Dodge Ram with Manitoba plates and Farmall mud flaps on it, that should be me. Make sure you stop by and say hi. Alright, we'll do the same thing to the holes here. Give a little bit of penetrating oil so we get some lubricant. Now, looks like I'm going to have a problem here. These can't be too dirty because I threaded it in most of the way by hand. It's just getting a little hung up. Try that with the bolt. Just like brand new. Well, this side feels a little bit more growly. There we go. Oh yeah, look at all the dirt that come out of there. Okay, let's try this now. Just like brand new, look at that. Okay. Now, I do have a concern. One of the springs that keeps tension on the rad from below has snapped in half on me. So I'm going to see what I have. This is what it should look like. And this is what I got. So, see what I got in stock here. And as long as I've got that, we can put this back together. Okay, so the answer to whether I had any springs in stock was a no. So I ended up at Canadian Tire. They're roughly the right diameter, so I can just cut it to length. We'll see how strong this spring is once I get it open here. Basically, as long as it ends up compressing to the same, roughly the same amount, I should be fine. So yeah, it's a much weaker spring than the one that comes on it, but beggars can't be choosers. So I'll just cut it a little bit longer. It'll do its job. It doesn't have to be real precise. It's just keeping some spring on that radiator. Ooh, it's strong steel too. I might have to go get some better cutters. All right, some good old bolt cutters for the rescue there. So, got her chopped. So now we should have everything that we need. Alright, let's give this a shot. Now when I'm lining this up, this is the biggest pain in the butt. Get the drain through the right hole. I've already got my rubber sitting here. That'll have to be lined up with the bolts as they come through. Putting the drain through the right hole makes it easier too. There we go. Yeah, you have to be a bit of a contortionist to get your hand around to where this bolt needs to go. Would probably be an easier task with two people. One to hold the radiator and one to try and get in and finagle this bolt, but deal with what we got. Okay, I'm gonna actually put this bolt onto the end of my extension. I can't get my hand in there properly. I'm also going to use this bar to pry it up just slightly. And I'm going to need some light, I think. Oh, there we go. Found the hole. I think. Now I'm just tightening the two bolts. should be all set. I'm gonna need a deeper socket. Alright, ready for the first fitment of the front cowl. This will be coming off again after. Just want to put everything together in place. Give it the rest of its shots of paint. Then I can actually see all the surfaces that are visible. That feels quite snug on the sides of this, so I'm guessing that some of my reshaping, this has been bent. Give it a little pull on either side. Alright, can definitely see some tweaks that are going to happen here. All right, so you'll notice this is not red anymore. When I went to put it on the tractor, figured out it was pretty badly bent out of shape. And by the time that I was done straightening everything out and getting everything straight, it was just best to start over with the paint. So I took it right back down to the metal, put primer back on it, and assembled it with the rest of the tractor. So I'm gonna shoot everything on the tractor now. You can see I did some more fixing around that hole for the exhaust as well. It was pretty banged up, so we've got it straightened as much as we could, and some Bondo. There's one more little spot on the fender that I had to address. Other than that, I think we're ready to give this thing its second shot of red. And of course I was sitting there looking at this tractor after I had it painted. There's something missing on that right side of the tractor. We'll wait. So it hasn't been painted, it's not on. So I think I'm gonna clean it up, then I'm gonna put it on the tractor and then I'll spray it once it's installed. That way I don't damage the paint. And I'll have to have the paint gun going for a bunch of the smaller parts soon enough anyways, so No harm, no foul. I'll get this cleaned up between this putty knife, metal putty knife to scrape off the big stuff, and then the die grinder with the wire brush for the rest, just like the rest of the tractor was. Yeah, I've knocked off all the loose stuff off the cast here. I've loaded it up on my jack, and I'm hoping it'll have enough height to use it to put this on. Failing that, I'm going to have to figure out a way with my engine crane, but that might be a little tricky, so let's see how this works. Take my bar out I was using as a handle for hauling this thing around. This is going to be close. I had to shrink down my plastic room a bit, so I had room to get in other stuff for oil changes, etc. Brake jobs. So I'm working at a slight disadvantage now. There we go. Getting close. I might have to just He-Man it the rest of the way up. Hopefully I can keep this bolt out and get this on at the same time. Whew. Now let's put a nut on there before we drop this on our feet or on my nice concrete floor. Oh. Yeah, that was a bit of a workout. These things are not light. Oh, thankfully I only had to lift it about 2 inches there. And thankfully I didn't have to chase the bolt through. Alright, now that we got that wheel weight on, I'm going to continue along with all the rest of the small parts. Got the starter here, got the air cleaner box is the other large piece, and then a couple of small pipes, our throttle rod, and a few smaller pieces there. So just going to work on cleaning these all up. Basically do most of my work with this thing. Cleans it up pretty quick. So yeah, I'll show you the before. Here's after. I got a little dirty, chewed up my thumb a little bit with the die grinder jumping. That was fun. It's bleeding a touch. I'm sure that's good for the old tetanus. Anyways, so now that I've got all the loose stuff knocked off here, I'm not that worried about getting right down to the paint, because I'm going to actually paint this black. From the factory it would have been red, but a lot of the time when you had starter problems and they went in and got rebuilt, they'd be painted black and sent back, and I just prefer the look of black on some of the components in there, just to give a little bit of a contrast to all the red that's on the tractor. So I'm going to paint mine black. It's not factory correct, but it's one of those little things that are going to make this tractor mine. So we get this hung up and then we'll give it a quick shot, and then yeah, I'll continue on through the rest of the parts. All of them are going to go red, but this will go black, and then the alternator will either be polished silver, or I'll paint it black too. Haven't decided yet. We'll figure that out when we get there. The other thing is this tag that normally has some numbers and stuff on it. Whoever did the previous paint job decided that was better ground off. So numbers were gone when I got there, so I'm just going to paint over the whole thing. I will have to touch up where this wire is draped across it, but that's a very small thing. I'm not painting the nose cone because of course it'll be inside the tractor. No point in having paint in there. All right. I think we're covered. On to the next.